What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. Multiple different things for you guys in this episode, including some back to school money going out to some families. Also, you could get paid $100 just for driving your car in another state. Also, we have rents rising in 49 states, and one state has rents dropping. Do you think it's your state? Yeah, all that here in this video. So let's jump right in. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to do it right now so you don't miss out on new videos. And don't forget to support our channel by giving us the thumbs up down below. Here we go. So the Fed just came out with a new kind of information here on the next interest rate hike, and it could be larger than expected. They were expected to maybe start easing down on the interest rate hikes. Remember, we just had two massive interest rate hikes of 0.75% each for the last two of them. We've had like I think four of them now here in a row. It was 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and then 0.75 again. And now these last two of 0.75, which was 1.5% total, just in the last 60 days, was the largest in like decades that we've had that large of interest rate hikes. We could be seeing another massive interest rate hike higher than expected here. It was expected to go down, but listen to what the Fed has to say here, or the information coming out here. Check this out.
Two voting Fed members speaking right now and making some strong headlines about the direction of rates. Let's get to Steve Leisman with the details. Steve?
Kelly, thanks very much. Yeah, St. Louis Fed President Jim Bullard saying that he is leaning toward a 75 basis point rate hike at the September meeting. Obviously, this flies in the face of some of the dovish takes that have been out there, both on the minutes yesterday and in response to the pivot that was perceived from the chairman at the press conference last week. So the issue is this. This is not dramatically different from where Bullard has been all along. He still seems to be, by the way, this is a Wall Street Journal interview that was done. He still seems to be in line with this idea of 3.75 to 4% by the end of the year. There are other folks are in line with that. So this is close to where the market is. If you look at the Fed rate outlook, Kelly, the market's at 3.5. Bullard's at 3.75 to 4%. So if you do the 75 in September, you still have another 100 or so to go in the next two meetings. That could be 250. So he's more aggressive than the overall committee, but not necessarily that much more aggressive where the market is right now. But there's been this 50, 75. It's interesting, Kelly. I do not see much of a change in the probabilities. We were at 60% probability of a 50 this morning, and we're still like at 57. So just down a little bit, really, a little bit more leaning towards the 75, but not the odds-on favorite right now. Esther George also saying that she was encouraged by the July inflation report, but no time for a victory lap. She still sees a significant difference between supply and demand in this economy. So Esther George also on board. What's happening, Kelly, I think you may understand, is the market's perceiving this pivot. The market is perceiving these rate cuts next year, and the Fed is leaning against it. Bullard's saying, again, as he told us as well, that it's premature for the market to be counting on rate cuts next year.
It's fascinating. And 288 for the 10-year. We'll see how this continues to play out in markets. Steve, thanks for bringing that to us, our Steve Leisman.
Yeah, so a little bit of that may have sounded like legal mumbo jumbo to a lot of people, and some of that used to sound like legal mumbo jumbo to me. So to break that down into kind of layman's terms, there's going to probably be another interest rate hike here coming up soon of 0.5 to 0.75%, 0.5% to 0.75%. And then more interest rate hikes coming after that this year. And by the end of the year, we could see basically almost a total of 3 to 4% by the end of this year of interest rate hikes, just this year alone, and then more next year. So if you really kind of think about that, it's pretty dramatic. And The Fed has to do this. I get that this hurts people in the short term. Um, First of all, just so you guys know, that banks around, central banks and kind of governments are doing this all around the world. And in fact, the U.S. government was one of the last central banks or government central banks to kind of do this. Um, yeah, to curb inflation. And one of the easiest kind of analogies to show you how this is working is the real estate market, the housing markets. Right before we started to see these interest rate hikes, the overinflated economy we have with high inflation. High inflation. One way to see high inflation is that the price on everything is going up, 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 up. We've seen the price on gas going up. We've seen the price on food going up. We've seen the price on housing going up. We've seen the price on cars going up. We've seen an overinflated economy. Okay, we're seeing the price on gas come down now, and there's a whole plethora of reasons on why that could be. Demand going down. Maybe it's because of Biden releasing the oil reserves. A lot of people have different opinions on that. Um, but the housing market has come down dramatically. We see this home mortgage demand and the amount of people closing on homes, buying homes, and actually buying them and closing them. Demand has fallen to a new 22-year low as housing market fuels recession fears. You see right here from Ford, multiple different sources on this. So we went from an ultra high housing market, an overinflated housing market where people were just any home that went on the market pretty much in any single state in America. You would put a home on the market, whether it was in the greatest condition, the worst condition, if it was a foreclosure, if it was spotless, or if it was a complete dump, it would get multiple offers, and that's not normal. It's just not normal. Okay, in the past, in most real estate cities, you would go and you'd get the asking price. If it was 300,000, you'd go in and you'd make an offer and you'd negotiate down a little bit. Unless it's an ultra hot real estate market, most time you would go in there and you negotiate a little bit. That was not the case here recently. It was more like the house would go for sale on day one, and it would be like a feeding frenzy, and there'd be 10 offers on day one, and you would be like, who's gonna bid the highest over asking price? And one guy would bid 10,000 over, another guy bid 20,000 over, and the highest bidder would win. And I I've seen comments from people, and I know people who have said, I bid $25,000 over and I wasn't even close. And some guy bid $50,000 over on a $300,000 home. That's how crazy the housing market is. So now that's no longer the case, and it turned around that quickly because of interest rates. Okay. Now you're going to pay more on the interest on the mortgage. Okay, because that's it's going to cost more for the mortgage for the interest, but you can refinance. Okay, in a year or two or three or whenever the interest rates come down, you can then refinance. Okay, but you can't change the purchase price. That's locked in forever. If you pay 350,000 for a home as opposed to 300,000 for a home, you can never change that. Okay, but that was not a normal housing market. Okay, same thing was going on with cars. You look at the car market here just recently, and that's the car market's coming down as well because almost everybody finances a car. They either lease it or they get a mortgage, they get a loan on a car. Okay. If there's some people that pay cash, the ultra wealthy, but 99% of people, they either lease or they get a loan on a car. Well, guess what? All that has to do with interest rates. So now the demand for cars is coming down. There's also the chip shortage and supply chain constraints as well. But all that is affecting everything. Okay. The demand for cars is coming down as well. And dealers are no longer charging as much over asking price. We were literally seeing average, everyday, regular cars like Hondas, Chevys, Fords going for over asking price for every single car on the lot, if they even had cars in the lot because they were selling so fast. They would literally get like regular old everyday Fords and Chevys, and they would sell the day they got them in for 5,000, 10,000 over asking. let alone if it was like a rare, cool car. Those were selling for tens of thousands of dollars over the MSRP, the sticker price. Again, not normal. Normally, if you were buying a car, you'd go in there and you'd be like, all right, let's negotiate a good deal, whether it was a used car or a new car. Used cars were selling for the price of brand new cars because everything was overinflated. So, believe it or not, raising interest rates in these couple examples does bring down the price of things. And I know it's kind of weird, but these are kind of couple examples here. And again, countries all around the world are doing this. It's a proven theory. It's a proven method. Um, it is something that needs to be done because if you don't do this, those prices stay high for a long, long time. Look how fast the housing market has come down, as opposed to letting that correct itself on its own could take years. So it is a way to cool off the economy, bring the inflation down a lot faster. And in fact, we're seeing this here with the rental market as well. And this is a significant problem. Now you can see here, most renters saw rent increases. Wages stay the same. If you got a wage increase, you probably didn't get enough of a wage increase to keep up with inflation or to keep up with your rent surge. Quote, the surge in rents that took place over the last 12 months has created even greater housing uncertainty for the most vulnerable renters. And as you can see here, the price of rent has gone up in every single state over the past year, except for one. Even as rent climbed nationwide in July, the most recent data here compared with a year ago, the average cost of a one-bedroom pad in Idaho fell 19%, according to rent.com. The Gem State, what a cool name for a state, right? Was one of the hottest housing markets during the height of the pandemic. As thousands of Americans fled crowded cities, and Idaho added housing to absorb new residents. That's one of the key there is they added a lot of housing, which a lot of states really need to do. But the state's rental market is now starting to cool, and it feels like it's slowing down more than the rest of the nation, said Zillow chief economist. It's slowing down because it's got so much more aggressive in the beginning, which is not so great, but at least it's seeing a break now. We are seeing a little bit of relief here recently. The average cost of a one-bedroom apartment fell in July in Anaheim, California, in Baltimore, Maryland, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Glendale, Arizona, and St. Louis, Missouri, according to data. But this is after it's gone up significantly before this. Nationally, rents have soared nearly 40% for both one and two bedroom units. 40%. Think about that. Rent.com said some parts of the US are experiencing the highest rents in history, inflation adjusted. The average rent for one bedroom is $1,770 for a one bedroom. Oh my gosh. And $2,100 per month for a two bedroom, rent.com said. The main driver for escalating rents, rising demand for housing and would-be home buyers because of interest. So as many people cannot afford to buy homes right now, also because of that massive price increase where, say, a $300,000 home, there's 25 bidders and they couldn't buy the home because they were trying to compete against 25 other people. And that $300,000 home was selling for $350,000, $370,000. And that home wasn't $300,000 anymore. So hopefully this interest rate hike will bring the housing market a little bit back to normal. Okay. Hopefully, we'll get home builders coming back to normal. We've also seen the price of wood come down significantly, okay? And again, that was another pandemic problem where we've seen supply chains and wood shortage issues as well skyrocket, sky high. And hopefully that again will give time to correct itself, and a lot of these problems might, we've already seen the price of wood come down, and again, homes need wood and a lot of wood to build a home. So now the price of wood has come down pretty dramatically, and hopefully it's again one more thing that will make the a cost of building a home be cheaper. So along with, you build 100 new homes, if you have a, people bidding over the asking price, yeah, that's not going to help anybody but the home builders, raking in cash. So hopefully these problems correct themselves over time here. Then when interest rates come back down, because we know interest rates don't stay high forever. We've all kind of lived through this. We've all lived through interest rates coming up and down. I mean, these 2% and 3% home interest rates that we were just kind of living through right before this interest rate, hike here, those were the lowest in history ever. Okay. So if you got a locked in interest rate there, count your blessings. They're going up now, but they're still kind of low historically. So if you got to buy, you got to buy now. You're going to be getting a lower locked in buy purchase, and you can refinance in a few years when and if when they come back down. And, these interest rate hikes also affect your credit card interest. So any balance you have on a credit card is a variable interest. It can be adjusted by the credit card companies any given month, okay? And interest rates are not going down, they're going up. So, if anything, my advice is try not to rack up your credit card interest at this point. And if possible, try to pay down some debt, or at the bare minimum, don't rack it up. If anything, just try to, you know, pay for, any new food or anything you're buying with cash, or maybe pay off some low balance credit cards, and then don't use those credit cards or anything like that, because credit card interest is going to be going up as well. Anything you pay interest on that's not locked in with a locked in balance or interest rate, like a fixed rate mortgage or fixed rate car loan, um, is probably going to have the interest rates going up. So at least you hear this from me. Banks aren't going to call you. Your credit card company is not going to call you and say, "Hey, we're raising your interest rate." They might put a disclosure in with your monthly statement and say, somewhere in there in the fine print that your rate went up by, so and so amount or something along those lines. But who reads that, right? Who reads that? But that's just, it is what it is. Okay. But interest rates fluctuate. They go up and they go down over time. We all kind of got spoiled here over the last several years when interest rates were almost at zero. For the Fed, they were basically at zero. One of the rates was at zero for bank to bank and Fed lending rates. Okay. Um, and now they're going up by several percent. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country, and important details like this, because this does affect your money. A lot of people don't realize this, but this is affecting your money. It affects your money in the bank. It affects your money on the credit cards. It affects the money you pay for your mortgages, and almost anything with any type of money you lend, buy, or anything on a credit card, any type of money like that, it's affecting you. You might not realize that, but it does. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on a daily basis. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. Click the bell icon down below, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. You can click this video here with up to $3,000 going out to millions of Americans here next. Or you can click here to watch our newest video next. So click on one of those videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.